Hey everybody, let me just get us going here on the Facebooks. Go live! Woo woo! Going live. We're going live. We're going live on the Facebook. We're going live. We're going live. Oh, am I recording too? Let's see. Yes, we're recording. That's so good. Veronica, I can tell you're about to tell me that it sounds like I'm on my computer mic because I am, because I can't find my little splitter dongle to plug in my regular mic. So there you go. Hi, everybody in Facebook land. Oh, look, here's somebody who wants to say hi. Archie, you want to say hi? Okay. 1, 2. There's Archie. Hi, baby. I know, it's very exciting. Okay, bye. All right, let's turn this on. I'm not sure why I can't see this alert. There we go. Got it. Hello, people. Well, hello, people. How you doing, everybody? Beverly, Edith, Emily, Jean, June, Morgan, Phyllis, Renee, Robin, Rosalind, Sharmilla, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. It's great to see all of you. And for those of you that I can't see on Facebook land, so we've got the Zoom. If you want to attend sort of more privately, you can come through the Zoom. That is if you're on the mailing list. If you're not on the mailing list, get on the mailing list. Go over to therealsambennett.com and get on the mailing list, because all the good stuff comes through email. I try to remember to post it on the socials, but frankly, I don't all the time. So get on the email list, and then you'll get a Zoom link to this if you want it. Or you're watching on the Secrets of Highly Productive People Facebook page, or you're watching on the Samantha Bennett page. So wherever or you're watching a recording of this, or you're watching it on YouTube. So many channels, so many opportunities for us to be together. How lucky are we? I'm going to start the way you know I like to start everything, which is with a little bit of breathing. So just, yeah, let your belly go really soft. And I was watching The Offer last night, which is the little mini sort of docu-series about the making of The Godfather. So it's all set in like 70s Hollywood and Robert Evans and stuff. So I thought I'd wear my 70s Robert Evans glasses today. Okay, so take off your glasses, let your eyes go soft, let your gaze go soft, let your heart go soft, your hands go soft, let your attitude towards yourself go soft, your attitude towards those who have wronged you, those that you have wronged. Just soften into your innocence and humanity, and their innocence and their humanity. Everyone's just doing the best they can, even when their best is terrible. And softening into that compassion and that grace. All the times we have not been punished for wrongdoing, that's grace. And all the times that we have extended grace to others, let's just lean into that. Let that feeling envelop you as we inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. How's everybody today? How are you feeling? What's going on? What are you noticing? What do you want to talk about? Obviously, I have a little plan for today. I have my little sermonette like I always do, but I'm also here to answer your questions. So if there's something that you're wondering about, or something that's on your mind, or you want to ask me something about me or my life or my business or how I do things, I'm happy to share, because you know that's what we're here for. Good. So Gail's just saying that she has trouble finding it on Facebook. It does take a minute if you're trying to come on Facebook, because I got to launch it on Zoom and then launch it on Facebook. And then Veronica has to launch it into the private group. So there's a little bit of steps in between. So the Facebook doesn't always start exactly at the top of the hour. But you're here, so that's fine. Oh, I want to clarify something. I said a while ago that I was going to do a paid training called Your Organizing Principle, that it was for the Get It Done Labbers, but that I was going to open it up to everybody else. And I decided about a couple of days ahead of time, maybe a week or two ahead of time, to not do that. So if you were feeling like, I thought Sam was going to have a class soon, I was, but then I decided to just keep it for the Get It Done Lab people. So, and it was great. Thank you for asking. So if you're thinking about joining Get It Done Lab, that's another good reason too, because you can get that bonus training. Hi, Laura, great to see you. So just go to therealsambennett.com/lab. We will be starting the new lab in June. Yeah, so that's me sort of stalling. Cheryl says, I am writing a book. So happy synchronicity to find you here today. Of course you are. Yay, Cheryl. Good. So let's, today I was thinking that you could write a book. You should write a book. And you probably had the thought, man, I could write a book. So what I want to encourage you is that, yes, you can and you should. And even if you're not going to or don't have any interest in it, you should consider finding a way to express your wisdom and your experience, because you are a highly creative person. You have led a fascinating life. I was just talking the other day to someone who works in corporate America. She actually works in the medical genetic sequencing, very high-end medical stuff. That's how much I understand it. And I was saying how, I have had a million jobs. I was a whitewater river guide. I produced radio dramas. I was a barista. Gosh, what didn't I do? I delivered flowers. I mean, really, I've had every job in the world, but I've never had a job in corporate America. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so fascinating. That's so interesting. And wait, you were an actor? That's so interesting. And I'm like, really? I mean, I didn't feel interesting at the time. It felt hard. I mean, it was great. It was interesting. That's not true. It was very interesting. And she, reassured me. She's like, you're not missing anything working in corporate. But we're all like that too, right? You guys have had incredibly crazy life paths that have taken you down places you never thought you would go, and encountering people you never thought you would meet, and having experiences you never thought you'd experience. So I think the world needs to hear from you. I think there's a lot of people in the world who are kind of sitting on their hands, and they sort of hate their lives. They have that corporate job. They've done what they should do, what they're supposed to do, and they're feeling kind of empty and miserable. And they're not sure why. And they're not really sure what other way there is to do something. And when you start telling your story of how, I thought I was going to be a pediatrician, but then I ended up being a yoga teacher. And then I ended up moving to Pune, India to study with Mr. Iyengar. And then I fell in love and rafted the Zambezi. I don't know, whatever you did. Or maybe your experience has been, raising kids. And maybe raising kids who were problematic, or maybe raising kids when you were being problematic. Maybe your experience is just around, your own health or your own mental health, and how you have learned to navigate the world with your fabulously neurodiverse brain. Christian says, I literally showed up because I've been working on a book and dragging my feet and going slow and being super precious about it. Yay! Way to tell on yourself, Christian. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, we're going to get you out of that right now. Sharmila says, we have. How did you know? Because you're my people. You guys are fascinating. If you ever get, this is another reason to get into the lab, is to just talk to each other, because you all have had such incredible life experiences and you're so accomplished in so many ways. I was talking to a guy the other day who got a MacArthur Genius Grant. I'm like, damn, now I'm intimidated by my own clients. Like, that's impressive. So whether you think of your accomplishments as being very small or very large, and whether you want to write a book or not, I want you to think about, you know, how you could. And do you want to do little TikTok videos, or do you want to have a Facebook page, or do you want to just journal, make some lists, slideshows, I don't know, photographic exhibits, Sculpey animation, anything. Gaynell says, I'm 3/4 into my book project. Get It Done Lab really booster rocketed me after a long pause following extraneous circumstances, and I'm still on my adventure, a little spaced out sometimes, but the view is exhilarating. That's great, Gaynell. Good for you. Well done. Yeah, Get It Done Lab is great for those kind of booster shots to get you going. And Joe says, it's like you've been watching me. I have a camera in your house. I get it. Lucy says, hi. Hi, Lucy. Hi, everybody. By the way, if you have a friend that you want to invite into this group, into the Secrets of Highly Productive People Facebook group, ping them right now. Invite them into this training, or whatever we're calling this live. And because Lucy's here, she can approve them right away and get them right into this group, because, you know, your friends are the coolest. So the real heart of what I'm saying here is I want you to honor what you know. How you know what you know. You know a lot more than you think you know. Your knowledge is a lot more interesting than you think it is, right? Okay, Kitty's attacking the blinds now. Okay, leave the blinds alone. Thank you. You know a lot more than you think you know. And, you know, I was trying to think of like, what are some of the things that sometimes trip people up? And there's that sense of like, I don't really know, you know, what do I have to say about XYZ? Or it's, you know, it's all been said before, but as you've probably heard me say, it's all been said before, but not by you. It's all been said before, but not by you. Your way of expressing what you know about anything, about vegan cooking, about anything, is different than anyone else's. And you have the ability to reach people that have never been reached. I was talking with a young man yesterday who's in college, and so sweet, these youngsters. And he was telling me how he was starting to read a personal development book. And I was like, good for you, well done. And he said that one of the things the book had showed him that he had never considered before was that he himself was responsible for his development in the workplace. That it was his job to make sure that he continually improved his skills, and that he learned new things and showed up with a good attitude and sought out opportunities to take on more responsibility. And, you know, that it wasn't his boss's job to sort of drag him along by the collar, you know, and sort of getting out of that academic mindset of like, oh, everyone will just tell me what to do, and then if I do that, I'll succeed. And instead getting into a little bit more of an entrepreneurial mindset of how can I take more responsibility for my feelings of fulfillment in the workplace. And I was like, yes, exactly. And, you know, this kid's what, is he, you know, 20 years old? He had never had that thought before. You know, something that seems pretty obvious to you and me, like, yeah, you're responsible for your experience. You're responsible for your success at work. That was news to him. And I'm so glad he couldn't remember the name of the book or who wrote it. So I don't know which personal development book he was reading. But thank goodness that person wrote that book. I mean, I don't think it would occur to me to say, by the way, you're responsible for your own experience, because I sort of assume that, because all y'all have been around the self-help block couple of 2-3 times now. So it's all been said before, but not by you. And you know, too, from your experience, how there's times when you've heard something a million times, and then all of a sudden somebody says it in a certain way, and you're like, that is so true. Like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way, or I never had that insight in quite that way, or that never came together for me in quite that way. And sometimes it's just because you're at a different place in your life, you're just experiencing the world a little differently. Sometimes it's the way they say it. Sometimes it's just your ears are open. You're just ready, you're fertile ground. So yeah, it's all been said before, but not by you. I think sometimes people get hung up too because and let me put this on there too. Sometimes I know people get reluctant because they're like, well, I mean, everything I know, I learned from other people, right? Like, I don't want to be co-opting other people's wisdom like it's my own. That wouldn't be right. And you're correct, but let's pull that apart a little bit. Because there is stuff that you have learned that is specific to that teacher, right? The things that, if I were going to talk about the 4 questions, is it true? Can I know that it's true? I'm talking about the work of Byron Katie, and I would want to credit her for that, right? Also, her work saved my life, so I always want to credit Byron Katie. But then there's stuff that's just sort of general wisdom in the world, and the person you heard it from originally probably didn't make it up themselves. The first time I heard Bill Barron say, feelings just want to be felt. That's all feelings want. Feelings just want to be felt. I was like, mind blown. Like, that's, of course. But Bill didn't come up with that. Bill's a very smart guy who came up with a lot of things, but he didn't come up with that. Right. So I can quote that freely. It's part of just sort of the general wisdom floating around the world. And this is how wisdom happens, right? You learn something from someone, then you integrate it with your lived experience, and then it becomes your wisdom. And that's when you get to share it as your own, right? It's when you take all the stuff that you've learned from everybody else, combine it with your lived experience, with your own, what's actually happened to you, which you've actually experienced, and then you can teach it. That's when you can teach something. So if you have things that you've learned from other people and then integrate it into your own life, sort of put your own spin on it, come to know it in a new way, then congratulations, you are an authority on this subject. You are an expert. You are an expert on your life. You are an expert on your wisdom. You don't know everything, but you know what you know. You don't know everything, but you know what you know. And the more you can share that, the more the rest of us benefit. I will also say, listen to me carefully when I say this, quit trying to be a good writer. Quit trying to go out, quit trying to be a good writer. Good writing, I swear, it's like marketing writing. Like, it's gonna seem horrible. It's just gonna come off clunky and forced and fake and not you. Right? So make it you. Write the way you like, make it funny, make it dirty, make it short, make it a list, make it elaborate, make it super convoluted. I don't know. Just make it the way you want to make it. Make it the way it makes sense to you to make it. Don't worry about what your English teacher would say. Don't worry, I want the one way in which I do want you to be a good writer is I want you to be exact in your language. So don't use words that have too much meaning, right? Like nice or pleasant or interesting. I met this person, they were interesting. That doesn't tell me anything. I met this person, they were prickly like a hedgehog, but sort of adorable. Oh, that tells me something. That's specific. Right? Now I've got a picture. Now I want to know more about that. Who was that person? Right? So get specific in your language. Describe things using your senses, all of them, including your 6th and 7th senses. Right? So that's the way I want you to be a good writer. I don't need you to be a grammatically correct writer. The world does not what I need. The world does not need you to be a grammatically correct writer. The world does not need you to be an experienced writer. The world does not need you to be to write anything long. My friend Robin Colucci is one of the country's most successful book coaches, and she always says, "Don't write a book, write a booklet." I'm like, oh, write a booklet. That's interesting, because right now you could write a little chapter book, just 1,000 words, a couple thousand words, and throw it up on Kindle, and Bob's your uncle. You're published. Yay, hooray. I mean, maybe got a good graphic designer to make a nice cover for you, but yeah. Yeah, so just circling back to this idea about like, our lived wisdom, the things we learn from other people, then incorporated with our own experience, that becomes the wisdom that we are qualified to teach. Amy says, and it will come out flavored like us. Exactly. We talk all the time in the team meetings about samishing things. Like, would you samish this a little bit? would you make this a little more samish it? Sue says it's like making a quilt. All the bits we've learned make different pictures depending on how we put them together. Excellent analogy, Sue. Thank you. Yeah, Julian Jr. talking about words that mean too many things. Amazing, awesome. Exactly. So avoid those words. Do me a favor and avoid those words. But otherwise, do it the way you want to do it. Write it all headlines. Write it in all caps. Write it in tweets. I don't know. Do it the way you want to do it. I have to tell you, this thing about being a good writer, one of the worst memoirs I have ever read, and I can't even begin to tell you how terrible this book was. I could not put it down. I was mesmerized, partly because the story was really kind of weird, but also I was fascinated by its badness. I was fascinated. So out of the thousands and thousands of books I have read in my life, the fact that I still remember that one is a testimony to how you do not have to be a good writer. And in fact, you can even be a terrible writer and have a wonderful impact on people. So this is my thought for you. What are you guys thinking? Linda says that makes me nervous that someone might admire my badness. Linda, I want to double dog dare you to put out something deliberately bad today. That's right. I want you to put out, make a Facebook post, make a little tweet, I don't know, something, and just do it to the least of your ability. Dare to suck. Dare to be terrible. We put so much pressure on ourselves that we have to be good and everybody has to admire us and everybody has to like us and we have to be all perfecty schmurfecty all the time. And I'm over it. How about a historical novel with errors in it? Sure. Shakespeare did it all the time. Jen says, dare to be terrible. Love it. So freeing. Yeah. Make a terrible video. Make a terrible, make something overly expressive. Make something where you're dorking out. Make something where you're, admitting to one of your least finest qualities. Let's see. Sharmila says, what if you have many ideas, poetry, novel, lists? I don't know. Just start. See where it pulls. There isn't a right idea, right? So just start. Follow the sparkly breadcrumbs, right? And see what happens. Right? Veronica works with kids a lot, and she says, man, the kids get so upset when I dare them to do something poorly. It short circuits their little achievement-oriented brains. I know, right? Amy says, be terrible at least to get it out there, like Annie Lamott says in Shitty First Draft. Right, exactly. Write the shitty first draft. Shirley says, get a D instead of a C. Exactly. Get a D minus. Just start getting your wisdom, your wit, your humor, your vision, your experience out into the world. People want to know you. And the people that you think are going to judge you, they're judging you already. They already don't like you. So who cares about them? Right? Morgan says, a singing coach says, dare to suck. Exactly. That's when I was studying singing, it's definitely one of the hardest things. You have to learn how to make sound without managing not without managing your sound, but you have to be willing to make all kinds of sounds, and some of them are kind of horrible. And you have to do that before you can get good, right? A lot of you are singers on here. Cheryl's a singer. And, I don't need to remind you, we do not have unlimited days in which to share our wisdom, right? So even if you're just going to write a note to a grandchild or, hold forth on whatever thing you have got an opinion on. Julie says, question, are people doing blogs anymore? I think I missed the boat on that. Yeah, people are doing, you can still do a blog, or you can just write articles. You can also publish them on other platforms like Medium. But yeah, there's definitely blogs. Robin says, thank you for all this today. Hearing these suggestions together makes me want to honor my wisdom in such a gently held way. I am able to know that what I say is me and not a collection of all wisdom that has already been passed to me. Yes, exactly, Robin. Thank you. And Joe says, my butt is now officially kicked. Thank you. My pleasure. That's what I'm here for. Kiss on the cheek, thwack upside the head. That's what we do. Sue says, it's totally possible that more people don't like me after last night's blog, and I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, be controversial. Polarize the room. Why not? Amy says, dorky reminds me of when I was in high school marching band, and for one particular song, we all had to do this really dorky looking dip step. But the only people who actually looked stupid were the ones who half-assed it because they were afraid of looking stupid. Amazing how that works, right? Veronica says, there's a little move back to blogging all of a sudden lately. It's not too late to jump on the second wave. So there you go. Shirley says, my church choir director says, sing boldly. No one has the music but you. Oh, that's beautiful, Shirley. And I'll tell you the thing that I always love about singing in church, partly I love singing in a group. I get very uptight singing alone, but I love to sing in a group. And I always remind myself, it's not a performance, it's worship. It's not a performance, it's an offering to God. So maybe you can think of your offerings to the world that way too. It's not a performance. It's not about the greater glory of you. It's an offering to the divine, to people who love you and appreciate you and celebrate you. Julie says, Miles Davis says, don't worry about wrong notes. There are none. Right? Dude, that is deep. Don't worry about wrong notes. There are none. That kind of makes me puddle up a little bit. Sue says, that'll preach, Sam. Now, Sue knows because Sue's a preacher. Amy says, an offering, goosebumps. Yeah, it's your offering. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. It just has to be you. And you know, you can even practice. Somebody goes like, that was terrible. I didn't appreciate that you did that. You can go like, I know it was terrible, wasn't it? I didn't really appreciate myself for that either. Like, you don't have to love everything you publish. Julie says, cool about blogs. I read somewhere they were passe, hadn't thought to believe in a second wave. I'm telling you, Veronica's got her finger on the pulse. If you got a question, ask Veronica because she knows things. Right, yeah, oh, so good. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, Miles Davis. Thanks for being wise. Yeah, and our lives and what we do with them. Gail says, I fucking love that. It's an offering to the divine. Yeah. Veronica says, that's what I do. I drink coffee and I know things. Exactly. By the way, Veronica's doing a fundraiser for, it's St. Jude, right? For St. Jude Hospital. She's doing 25 push-ups a day. If you want to sponsor her, you can find her on Facebook, just friend her. And then you can get a link to her donation. And Facebook makes it very simple now to donate, like just click, click. So support her in that if you want. Lainey says, so freeing. Good. This is what I want. Remember, the truth is relaxing. The truth is relaxing. The truth will set you free. There's all this uptight holding preciousness. Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't know how. Oh, I don't know. La, la, la. That's a lie. That's why it feels all tense like that. This ring, it's not a performance. It's worship. It's an offering. It's a terrible offering. Hooray for the terrible offerings. Right? We'll see where it goes. You don't need it to be perfect. The world doesn't need it to be perfect. Are your favorite things perfect? Are your favorite people perfect? No, of course not. Don't be silly. So breathing into this. Hi, Leslie. Great to see you. Breathing into this moment. We can close out this circle. By the way, if you think you might actually want to write a book, if this is making you going like, I think I really do want to write a book, then I'm going to be offering a training, a free training in June 18th, if you want to mark your calendars now, called figure out your book, figure your book out, something like that. And then I'm going to be offering a 3 or 4 month course that starts in July and goes into the fall to help support you in getting your book written. So if you don't want to start a penny jar, if you're like, oh, I always want to take Sam's trainings, but then I feel like I never have the money. Well, I'm giving you advance notice. Start your penny jar, start, setting aside a little money, because it's not going to be a super expensive course, but it ain't going to be free. But there will be a free training in June. So keep an eye out for that. You'll get emails and stuff. And Julie says, by the way, Sue Boardman, after last night's vlog, I actually love you more. Aw, see, there you go. Things you think might alienate people might actually bring them closer. So let's do one more breath to close out this circle and think about how you might offer your wisdom and wit and joy and spirit and light into the world today. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you for doing this with me. See you next week.